The Hobart Football Club is celebrating its 60th year. Hobart is a proud club, a working class club unlike any other, that has always had the strength through its people to look adversity in the eye and move on. The Hobart Football Club has produced 7 William Leach medalists, with its first winner being Jack Sullivan in 1947. Bernie Payne won 2 William Leach medals in 1965 and 1966. And our most recent winner was Scott Wade in 1984. This year, the following players were inducted into the Tasmanian Football Hall of Fame: Bernie Payne, Trevor Leo, Ian Stewart, Paul Sproul, Scott Clayton, Matthew Armstrong, Paul Hudson and Alastair Lynch. 21 Hobart Football Club players have gone on to play VFL, AFL football. They include Noel Mewett, Phil Garwood, Ray O'Rourke, Andrew Lamprell, Jamie Shanahan, and amongst this group is triple Brownlow medalist Ian Stewart. In all, 7 have played over 150 VFL, AFL senior games, with Alastair Lynch becoming the first Tasmanian player to play 300 senior games. Ian Stewart and Paul Sproul went on to coach at VFL AFL senior level. Matthew Armstrong is the current Tasmanian state coach. Scott Clayton is a leading AFL recruiting manager. Scott Wade is general manager of AFL Tasmania, while another former player, Chris Fagan, is football manager at the Melbourne Football Club. All these people had their start at the Hobart Football Club, and these achievements would be hard to match by any other club in Australia.
Boundary throw in, left half forward flank for Tasmania. Manson and Monkhurst. Won by Monkhurst. Clayton, vice captain for Tasmania. Hudson in the pack there. Barwick's there. Hudson wins out. Snapshot. Oh, don't tell me he's kicked that. Ha, what a goal! Oh, his father would be proud of that.
Hobart has had many of its players represent the state with distinction. It has won 10 senior premierships from 16 grand final appearances and won the state premiership in 1959 and the TFL Statewide Cup in 1980. Tonight, we celebrate 2 of these premiership years, 1980 and 1990.
Picks himself up pretty well, puts it onto the boot down towards the half-forward line. There's Wade, there's the siren, it's all over, and the Tigers have won the 1980 TFL Grand Final as the crowd stream onto the ground. And there's
1980 proved to be a remarkable year for the Tigers. 3 disappointing seasons led to the appointment of former player Paul Sproul as its senior coach, who quickly made his mark with the team. After premiership success with Sandy Bay, Sproul had the task of quickly developing a young team of talented goers into winners. Scott Wade says that Paul Sproul had the boys super fit and raring to go.
He coached a number of premierships with Sandy Bay and came and took us pretty much from bottom to top, so you know, it was a fantastic influence on my career and probably would never have got the chance to play VFL, AFL footy.
Sproul was a tough, passionate coach who had the utmost respect of his players. Folklore has it that he could be heard from the other end of the ground during a game, but Scott Brain remembers him this way.
I don't remember him as being loud, but he was a leader and he could do actually everything that an 18 and 19-year-old was doing at that stage, and even to the stage he used to run from Cosgrove High, join him without training and then run home again. He was something exceptional as far as his fitness at that level, and I think it brought a new thing to the Hobart Football Club.
But now a few of the boys found it a little bit hard first up, and he had to be, because they hadn't been used to that sort of training and not to that fitness level. So when he took over, I mean, he had a lot of young blokes too, so I mean, there weren't a real lot of old blokes. I mean, I think there was only about 3 of us in the side that were, you know, from 26, my age. I think I was about the 4th eldest at the club at the time. So he had a pretty good bunch of young blokes to work with, and they took it on board and they were great.
But what Paul used to do was run us down to the cenotaph and round the domain and then out to Elwick Showground and go around there twice. Of course, I used to sort of veer left at the Clover Leaf and go back to the TCA by then. And but you know, that was just different things. And sprint between on the way back you'd have to sprint between the telegraph poles and jog the next one, and that was just sort of different techniques he had to get us fit, and he'd always run from the first bloke back to the last bloke to make sure I was always the last, and to see whether I was still coming. So he was a very good coach.
Well, we'd had a hard session down at Cornelian Bay, and we had to run back to the TCA ground, and on the way back he grabbed me and we went shot off up into the bush, and it was getting dark, and I collapsed. My legs just collapsed from under me. I was lying on the ground, and he left me there. He said, "I'll send a trainer back to get you." And here I am lying on the ground, couldn't get up, and he's left me in the dark in the bush. I had to find my way back to the TCA. I eventually did.
And there was a few of us, I won't dob them in, but I sort of knew all the shortcuts, and I came back and Paul said, "You cheated?" And I said, "No, never." He said, he looked down and he said, "What's the buzzies in your socks?" So he made me do it all again. So
he's lost it. Hobart have control of it. Cripps has it. He's had a look at goal. He's banged it in and put it through.
Warren Cripps says it was a much underrated side.
Lots of games that we absolutely belted the opposition, and a lot could say that we didn't have a lot of stars in the side. I beg to differ. I thought pound for pound we had some great players that did individual things that were quite outstanding from back as far as the Winfield Cup. You could sort of smell the success that was in the club from the Winfield Cup after we'd done the round robin series up north, and then back down here, ended up knocking off Glenorchy and then beating Clarence and whatever, and did it quite comfortably really, and virtually didn't run out of steam at all. So in that respect, we were on a bit of a canter.
The team was not an overly big side, but had an even blend of youth and experience mixed with notable key position stars.
Ray Owen pushing it down there. Look at Wade going. Oh, he's quick, this fellow. Over to Brain, nicely placed under pressure. Paul Cordo out in front of Rattray. Cordo!
Scotty Brain says Paul Cordo was one of the best marks he'd ever seen.
He'll understand this. His kicking probably let him down, and he was probably a 150 goal a year man, but his kicking let him down, but the marks that he took were absolutely sensational.
I will say one thing to Scotty. I remember taking one mark of the year and it was on the top of him. I remember him rubbing his head pretty badly afterwards. So, I think I probably kicked more than 100 points, that's for sure.
Oh, look, no doubt that year Paul Cordo had a fantastic year. He kicked over 100 goals and was a great forward for us. We had a good on-ball combination. Eric Luck, who unfortunately didn't play in the grand final, was a good ruckman all year for us. Wadey was a good player. We had some good players all around. We didn't have. I don't think we probably had what people would have suggested, all the stars, but as it turned out, we had a pretty good side all round.
The legend of Paul Cordo is still very strong in the minds of Hobart players and supporters, and in 1980, Cordo kicked a total of 121 goals, including 12 against New Norfolk in round 11. 1980 was a special year for the Hobart Football Club, not only for the premiership, but for youngsters Wade and Scott Clayton, who both played their last game together before heading to the VFL.
Towards goal, and I think he's put it through. Scott Clayton has put it through.
Yeah, well, most blokes said Scotty wouldn't make it, and then I would, so how wrong they could be. Look, Scotty had a fantastic AFL career, but we were fortunate enough to get a chance to play in the big league. And that was certainly... I obviously came back to Hobart, but it was Scotty Clayton's last game for Hobart, there's no doubt about that.
Scott Brain says it was a big week leading up to the big match.
The young blokes today don't realise how much crowd was involved back in those days, and it was a pretty big thing that week leading up to the grand final, and the vibe around town and the excitement that Hobart were back into where they should be.
And Franks again winning it. Screwed out of the air by Kelvin Anderson, back towards the centre of the ground.
The game attracted a record crowd for a Tigers grand final of over 17,000 people. And early on, the Tigers looked the goods as Cordo brought up the first of the match after just 30 seconds of play.
Clark hits the turf. Here's a chance for Big Phil Martin. Hand passes it to Cordo. Cordo streaming into an open goal. And he's kicked. Fly high, everybody up, nobody down.
Glenorchy hit back to lead at the first change, but it was to be in a decisive second quarter that the Tigers got going. Hobart held the Magpies goalless as they jumped to a 25-point lead at half-time and take a formidable grip on the game.
Dolliver comes out with it. They're running Hobart now. Dolliver puts a hand pass over here to Fraser. Fraser's running into trouble but shoots it over. That's Clayton putting the short one in, and he finds Anderson, and Anderson's going to go back and have a shot.
Yeah, I'm certainly looking forward to the reunion. Peter Gray, I hopefully will show the highlights of his double kick in the centre. That used to be shown at Scott Clayton's place every time the Fitzroy boys had a bit of trouble. If they wanted to be inspired for the next week, they'd pull out the old videotape from 1980, show Peter Gray trying to kick the ball in the centre of North Hobart with both feet at the same time. So that was a well-known thing around the Fitzroy boys back in the mid-80s, that Peter Gray could kick, with both feet at the same time, plus let Peter Hutchin kick 18 goals on him,
Attack. They desperately need a goal at this stage.
By three-quarter time, the game was virtually over. Paul Cordo had 5, the Tigers had the Magpies measure. However, Cordo says he never felt at ease until the final siren had gone.
Well, at no stage really. I remember in the last quarter they put Ricky Rattray to full forward and Warren Cockchuck come down to the full back.
My memory of that year is we played Glenorchy a number of times in the roster games, and I think they pretty much beat us every time, but when it came to the finals we had their measure, so they had a bit of a habit of choking in the finals back then.
That's what they've been doing all day. Thurley grabbing it out of the ruck wall, and he's kicked a goal. Well, it's as easy as that for Hobart.
There was little the Magpies could do as Hobart kicked away in the final term, scoring 14-9-93 to 7-16-58. Cordo kicked 5, Fraser and Clayton 2 apiece. John Thurley was judged best of field.
Paul Sproul, and what an elated bunch of players they are at the moment. Paul Sproul has pulled off.
Not only for my teammates, I mean, it was a privilege to play up here and to have a chance to play in the 80 grand final. But to all of them, I mean, it's a team effort, and it's just great that they accepted both myself and my wife Pat up here to the Hobart Football Club, which made things so easy. And to them, I'm eternally grateful, because these chances come along once in a blue moon, and I missed out a little bit down the bay with that, and no one knew more than what I did what it was like to miss out on that. And as I said, I've got to thank Sprowley for letting me play on the day, and also for the teammates for their help along the way, and the committee and the doctors and all the supporters up here at Hobart have just been fantastic. It was just a really, really, really close-knit unit that I'm proud to be a part of.
Basket man marches with the ball. Up towards full forward, Fox. Clumped down by Maple. Graham, Fox popped through a goal for the Tigers. Consolation. But, gee, you've got to admire this Tiger combination. They don't know what it is to give in. They certainly don't.
1990 was to be the year of revenge for the club, as Mark Browning and his troops set about putting to rest the disappointment of its 1989 loss to North Hobart. Bolstered by star recruit Phil Knight, the Tigers put in a big pre-season and were determined to go all the way for the first time in the statewide league. Mark Colgrove says the team really gelled on and off the field.
Well, I think the most important thing about 1990, well, just that era, was the fact that everybody was sort of a similar age. We're all pretty good mates. We all had a pretty good time after our, so to speak, and the footy sort of took care of itself. We all trained pretty hard. We all sort of looked after each other, and had a lot of respect for each other. So, and that sort of, I think, came across in the way we played our footy. And I know for a fact that, speaking to a lot of other guys from a lot of other clubs, they did sort of envy that about the Hobart Footy Club, that we were pretty much a real tight-knit sort of unit.
The back line was led by Browning and the only surviving player from the 1980 Premiership side, Wayne Pettit, whose strong high marking proved invaluable in Hobart's quest for glory.
Yeah, look, I was there in 80 and then again in 90, and look, that's, I guess, seeing Fedro in 80 and then again in 90 was just fantastic. It was a dream come true for me. The contrasting coaches, with Sprowley in 80 and Basil in 1990. I'd done a bit of coaching in my time. I used to coach Lyle Gormston under 13s, and I could see myself at a higher level, but I learned a bit off Basil. I thought he was great.
Yeah, no, I think he was pretty knowledgeable. He had a great football brain. He's obviously played a lot of games, so at the highest level, represented Australia, so you've got to have a fair bit of knowledge to have all that experience behind you. And I think he just basically gave players good instructions and did his homework on the opposition, and he knew what our limitations were and how we could beat them. So I think, yeah, he had great knowledge, and he probably communicated that very well to, well, let's say some players. I know some players probably mightn't agree with me, but yeah, I think he was just a good communicator and had a great knowledge of the game.
Was he a bit of a stats man? Was he top like
only when he was running around getting the handball and, you know, getting 30 odd easy kicks himself. No, but not particularly. I don't think he was, you know, a great stats man. Probably not in today's football. I know they're big on stats, but we looked at all those things, but he wasn't over the top.
The team was perfectly balanced across the field, with strongmen Shanahan and Winter complementing the abundance of small to mid-sized players. Steve Gilbey says that Mick Winter was the ace of the team.
Oh yeah, Mick was a pretty hard kind of player. I think he was hard on himself, he was hard on the players around him. He worked hard, he made us work hard. I mean, well, you got a centre half forward that can take a mark and bust a few packs. I mean, yeah, he's a pretty good kind of player to be able to kick it to. If you got the footy in the midfield, he'd be able to kick it to someone. He was a player you could look to kick it to.
There's the bounce. Here come Hobart again. Knight to Lane, back to Knight. The bounce.
The midfield was as strong as any, with Graham Fox, Keogh and Knight a formidable combination. Kyle Wilson joined the team mid-season and remembers quickly fitting into the side.
Yeah, I only come halfway during the year, so it was sort of a surprise for me. Obviously my first game when I played for Hobart in that year, I think we got done by about 11 goals, so I thought a bit of a strange move this one, but it was good in the end. We worked very, very hard. Our first final I think we got thumped, but after that we worked, and the likes of Mark Colgrove, who actually probably had a poor first final but really came good in the end and improved very good in the grand final. He played a very good game, along with the lesser blokes like James Lane, who had a sensational game. Which was excellent. Everyone who contributed, which was great for the club.
Look at the line of Hobart players running now. Shanahan out to Morwood, who's got it. No, he's dropped it. But Wilcox is there to tidy up.
Scott Wilcox was one of the quieter achievers of the team and says how playing in the side was a real buzz.
Spoil it. Watts kicks a goal.
Yeah, great side, you know, just to say, playing alongside guys like Tony Morwood and Mark Browning, you know, which guys that sort of just made, you know, lift so much, and guys like Mickey Winter who could turn it on just like a tap, you know, it was just great to be amongst and part of that team.
Mark Colgrove remembers being one of the lucky ones to play on the day.
Brenton Tapp, I think Tappy got reported a couple of weeks previous, and that freed up a position for me, I think, to come in. So thanks, Tappy, even though I think he's here somewhere tonight. But yeah, well, basically, has anyone spoken about Tappy's role in that game yet? Yeah, about not making the grand final because he decked the clearance runner in the prelim, which gave he got suspended for one week. I think it was a prelim, he got 1 week in the prelim basically for decking the runner. So that freed up a position in the grand final, and you know, I think that was the spot I took.
The late season recruitment of Tony Morwood was seen as the icing on the cake to what was already a potent forward line. Gilbey says it was a real coup getting Morwood into the black and gold.
I think Mark would have had a little bit of to do with that, and probably Jeff George and Russell Young and all the people around the club at the time, Pove. I mean, they all probably had a thing, but to get Tony there to add a little bit of more potency to our forward line, and they've got to put a good player on him. You know, such a good player. I mean, it kind of made the small fellas around him, especially a player like myself, to stand a bit tall. Took a little bit of pressure off Mick Winter. Also took some pressure off Walshy and players that played in the forward line. I think it definitely helped us. I mean, you got a player there, Tony Morwood's playing. Let's play a good player on him. It was definitely helped.
He's come up trumps. 8 points, Hobart lead by. We're into time on. Only 5 goals kicked in the quarter.
The Tigers had finished third on the ladder, and after getting over Sandy Bay in the first semi, Hobart played an epic preliminary final against Clarence, highlighted by Mick Winter's bouncing goal late in the final quarter.
Centre half forward, Roberts underneath the ball, Winter pulled off it as he kicks. Which way is it going to bounce? This way, that way. Oh, the worm has turned, and Hobart are going to go through to the grand final. Would you believe it?
I don't think Michael Winner can. 26 and a half minutes gone, and that is the goal of the year.
How do you describe this kick? Scott, a great hand pass there by Gilby to Scotty Wilcox. And Winter, while being held, kicks the ball. Have a look at this. A John Gleeson finger spinner. Have a look at it go through the goals. Unbelievable kick for goal. And the Tigers go further clear. What a comeback by Hobart.
There's the bounce of the ball. Shanahan high. Dennis.
After beating Hobart in the qualifying final and knocking off Clarence in the second semi, North Launceston went into the big one as favourites before fate would send them a mighty blow.
Bad news for the Robins, and he is in real strife. Steve Golding is screaming for the trainers to get to him.
Shark by Wilson. Here's the hand pass, but there's no one there to accept it now. Mark says he cops one high. No, says the umpire. I'll see that.
Well, if contact was made here, watch this. Have it, that's
missed.
Yeah, okay.
By a mile.
Well, no wonder he gets reported time and time again, Tony Brown. That's disgraceful.
Todman towards Gilby or Whitford. Whitford got Shanahan to beat. Can't do it. Well played, Big Jamie. Shanahan with the long bomb in towards the full forward area. Pack of players collide. Winter and Roberts collide. Tottenham a good tackle. And it's being adjudged that he tackled him for too long.
The first quarter saw Hobart score only one goal, and it trailed by 11 points at quarter time. Winter and Marchant stepped it up in the second as the Tigers pegged the lead back to just 4 points.
Umpire's letting it go, which is the right tactic. Space now for Keogh. Persistence wins through. Up towards Winter!
Yeah, great mark under pressure, that one. He missed an easy one a while ago.
Dunkley. He's a great aerialist. That's Curran. He'll kick towards Whitford. Opposing him is Wilcox. Whitford almost brought it in. We'll get a free kick. Or will he? No.
The third quarter was another even affair, and by three-quarter time scores were locked at 64 points apiece.
I tell you what, fitness level might be a little bit low. Will he last for the last quarter out?
I'd back these boys to beat me any day of the week. Fox, with lucky kick finds Marchant. Everyone's an important one at this stage of the match. Tony Marchant's not bad off the boot. Has it got the legs? Great start to the Tigers.
With a parochial crowd urging them on, Hobart cut loose at the start of the last, banging on 5 quick goals and all but sealing the match. Lee Crosby remembers Mark Colgrave's excitement midway through the final term.
I can remember Mark Colgrave in the last quarter. I think we were dead level at three-quarter time. And I think we kicked 5 quick goals in a matter of maybe 10 minutes. And I can remember Mark Colgrave, who I think was playing in the back pocket or something like that, coming up to me saying, you know, we've got it. And we sort of turned around and said, mate, it's not over yet. I think Wayne Pettit might have even come out from full back and said, she's not over yet, boys. And, you know, even though we were 5 or 6 goals up, we ended up winning by 10, but I found that was pretty funny that Coley thought it was all over.
The 1990 premiership, you know, coming from level pegging at three-quarter time to run over the top of them, seeing the likes of Jeff Archie Keogh streaming out of the middle, kicking torpedoes on the run for goals. It was just fantastic. And in front of a huge crowd, and we stuck it up those Robins from up north. That was even better.
Certainly Marchant and Hall in that last quarter just set us up. So when you kick 1 goal, then you kick 2, then 3, and all of a sudden you kick 6 in a row, you know, you just know you've got it. So it was fantastic.
Marchant looking for his options, but it's Hobart, who with that goal has definitely got the flag for season 1990.
Well, for people that are Tiger fans, absolutely ecstatic. For people that know Tony Marchant,
The celebrations went long and late into the night.
Well, there was a lot of celebrations, it was a big night. I mean, if you've won a grand final, I mean, you want to take a bit of the atmosphere up. I mean, there was a lot of people up there. I mean, I remember certain things of the night where you're kind of going around talking to everyone and people coming up and patting you on the back. And I don't think after the game you actually realise how important or how hard it is to win a premiership. I mean, yes, you have a good night, but I think it's down the track and things like this when you reflect back that cripes, I did play in a good side. It was a good footy side. Made a lot of friendships over it. And when I think about the side and who I played with, I just think I was very lucky. I mean, you don't get to. I know a lot of players have played a lot of footy and never get to play in a senior premiership, especially a winning senior premiership. or a grand final or anything like that. So I was just very, very lucky and very happy that I played in that side, because it was a very good side, especially very special time it was.
I think there was 16,000 or 17,000 people there that day. Obviously the whole build-up, fantastic. You know, never forget that. And to run out on the ground and and to come away with a victory is just phenomenal. I think something that I'll cherish forever.
Of the game, Marsh long up towards full forward. Out in front, Colgrave does it brilliantly. He's been good since he came on the ground. Colgrave now just stands, steadies, delivers over to Crosby. 31. There's the siren. It's all over. Hobart premiers for season 1990. Total elation for the Hobart fans, and total disappointment and desolation for North Launceston.
Well, what a match, what a magnificent final term by the Hobart side. They've kicked 10 goals in the final term.
It's my pleasure to announce that Mick Winter is the Darrell Baldock medalist, best player in the grand final. Congratulations, Mick.
Thanks, mate.
That says it all. Mate, can you describe the feelings that are going through your head now?
It's just the greatest sense of relief I think I've ever had after getting our asses kicked last year. I was just so keen to come back and make up for it.
Now you're a big occasion player, Mick. 7 or 8 today, well done. And where did you win the game?
Just 20 contributors, mate. That's all it is. When the score's level at three-quarter time and you've had a finals run like we have, it's just a bloody fantastic effort by the boys to get there. There's 20 contributors. That's all it was.
Well done. Enjoy the celebrations tonight, mate. Mick Winter, the Darrell Baldock medalist. With me is Wayne Pettit now. That's 2 premierships for you, Wayne. Is this one sweeter than the first?
They're all sweet, but I think the last quarter still the first. Yeah, it is sweeter than the first one, I think.
In 1980, did you think you'd stick it out for another one 10 years later?
I thought it might have come quicker.
And where did you win it today, Wayne?
That last quarter. Our consistency and our persistence kept at them.
2 premierships for Wayne Pettit. Well done.
Thanks, Ross.
There's the Premiership Cup. Mark Browning. Oh, does he love that moment. That's what he has been working for. And there it is. Is that one elated captain and coach? He's absolutely wrapped.
Tony, well done today, mate. What's this victory mean to you?
Well, it's certainly something I strive to achieve at the Swans for many years, and after coming down halfway during the season and wanting to help Mark out, I think that it's certainly been worthwhile, and it's certainly Mark's an inspiration. He's a great coach, and I think he's got a real future.